Hi, I'm Dusti Martin with Platinum Living Realty. This is your monthly market update for the towns of Cave Creek and Carefree for the month of May in 2020. All right, so let's just get right into it. Our active listings in town are down 20.6%. Over last year, we're sitting at 239 for all of Cave Creek and Carefree. Our sold listings are down 51.6% over last year with only 61 sales last month. But our median sale price per square foot is actually up 6.4% over last year. And that means we're sitting at about $221 and change per square foot for all of Cave Creek and Carefree. Keep in mind, Carefree tends to run a little higher price per square foot than Cave Creek does. And then our months of supply is actually up 64% over last year, bringing us to 3.92 months of supply. So we're just a smidge inside the 4-month or less mark for our sellers market. And so that's going to be giving some of our buyers a little bit of breathing room. And then our median days on market is down 11.9%. We're sitting at 52 days. So for the last month, our transactions have taken about 45 days if they are financed. And so therefore, if a transaction takes about 45 days and we're sitting at 52, that gives us about 3 weeks or so that a home really should be off the market and into the under contract or pending status. So keep that in mind. You might be wondering though, if our active listings are down and our sold listings are down even more, why is our price per square foot up? And it's because of the supply and demand. And when we get into the price ranges by the supply and demand by price range, you'll see how that breaks down. But overall, there's still just more buyers in the market than there are sellers. And because of the COVID stuff and everything else that's going on, a lot of people took their homes off the market to see how this does and to see when things blow over. And with that said, there's still more buyers out there pounding pavement, and our buyer traffic is almost completely returned for the state of Arizona from the bottom of the COVID lockdown kind of stuff. So let's get right into the price ranges. So our supply and demand, like I said, overall, we're at 3.92 months of supply for all of Cave Creek and Carefree. But then there is zero data from the $0 to $100,000 mark, the $100,000 to $200,000 mark, and the $200,000 to $300,000 mark. And that's because there's only 9 listings in all of Cave Creek and Carefree available for those 3 price ranges, and no buyers, no sales. So there's really nothing to calculate there until one of those buyers comes along. If you are a buyer in that price range in Cave Creek and Carefree and you're looking for a little condo, you might want to check it out because clearly you've got no competition right now. Then we get into the $300,000 to $500,000 price range. We're sitting at a 1.54 months of supply, meaning in about a month and a half or 6 weeks, we would be totally out of inventory to sell in that price range. I personally have one of the only 2 homes, single family homes listed under 500,000 in the city of Carefree or the town of Carefree. So keep that in mind. If you're looking to get into a single family home in Carefree, not even counting Cave Creek, but Carefree itself, you're going to be looking at least 470, 475 before you can find even anything that's available. There's only 2 until you breach that $500,000 mark. So keep that in mind. The inventory there is super, super tight in that price range. When you get into the $500,000 to $700,000 price range, we are at 4.07 months of supply. If 4 months or less is a seller's market, that means we're no longer in a seller's market, but very, very close to it in that price range, 500 to 700. And just keep that in mind. If you're a buyer, you might not have to contend with multiple offers unless you're bidding on the shiny penny on the block that everybody else wants. But otherwise, you might have a little more breathing room. But don't expect sellers to give up too much because it's just barely returning to what we would consider a stable market. Then when we get to the $700 to $1 million mark, we're at 4.14 months of supply for all of Cave Creek and Carefree. So again, no longer in a seller's market, but also still very close to it. So if you are a buyer, try to keep that in mind. Just because it's not a seller's market doesn't mean that it's a buyer's market. And then when we get to the $1 to $3 million price range, we're at 8.13 months of supply. 8 months or more is the buyer's market. So we are just inside the buyer's market range, but try to keep that in mind for that price range. Being in a buyer's market is actually common, and we should try to keep it in mind with in recent years past, we've had 12, 15, 24 months of supply in some of those higher end price ranges. So try to keep that in mind. This time last year, we were at 7.2 months of supply in the $1 to $3 million range. And this month we're at 8.3. A lot of that has to do with the liquidity markets and the jumbo loans still not being as palatable. We're starting to get back to normal, but it's just taken a little while, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be there by the end of the second quarter or early into the third. If you guys have any questions, if you found any of this useful or helpful, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, share the video so your friends can know what's going on. And if you have any thoughts of selling, give me a call at 480-717-9405. I'd be happy to run the numbers for your exact zip code and for your exact subdivision to know what kind of opportunity you might have to optimize the sale of your home. Again, my number is 480-717-9405, or you can visit me at DustiMartinRealtor.com.